80,000 people are about to die. You know this. You've done the math yourself. And right now, your biggest concern is that the coffee in your thermos has gone cold? This is August 6th, 1945. You are Colonel Paul Tibbets. You are 30 years old. You were the best bomber pilot in the United States Army Air Forces. And in approximately 4 hours, you will change the world in a way that cannot be undone. You don't think about that. Not right now. Right now, you think about fuel burn rate, about wind at altitude, about the thin, cold air at 31,000 feet pressing against the aluminum skin of your cockpit like a living thing. You think about the 43 seconds. We'll get to the 43 seconds. You didn't volunteer for this mission. You were selected. There's a difference. In September 1944, a general you'd never met called you into an office in Washington and told you that you were being given command of a new unit, the 509th Composite Group. He said the mission was classified above top secret. He said you would be training for a bombing run unlike anything in the history of aerial warfare. He slid a single photograph across the desk. A metal cylinder. Fat. Blunt-nosed. Almost ugly. You asked what it was. He said, "You don't need to know what it is. You need to know how to deliver it." You spent the next 8 months learning to fly a very specific maneuver. Fly straight, release the weapon. Then, the moment it drops, bank 155 degrees and push the nose down hard. A diving turn so violent, it makes your vision blur. You have to put as much distance between yourself and the release point as possible. Because after the weapon leaves your aircraft, it will fall for 43 seconds. 6 miles of thin air between it and the ground. 43 seconds of silence in which you must fly as if your life depends on it. Because it does. If you execute the turn perfectly, you survive the shockwave. If you're slow, if you're even slightly off, the blast catches you. The aircraft doesn't come home. You practiced this maneuver hundreds of times over the Utah desert. Your crew thought it was a new evasive tactic. You never told them what it was actually for. The name on the nose of your B-29 is Enola Gay, your mother's name. You gave the order to have it painted at 3 in the morning, then stood alone on the tarmac, watching the letters take shape under a single work light. You thought it would feel meaningful. It did, just not in the way you expected. The letters looked small against all that aluminum. A name from a kitchen in Iowa, written on a machine built to end cities. Takeoff is at 2:45 in the morning. The darkness over Tinian Island is absolute. The air smells like coral dust and aviation fuel, and the faint salt rot of the Pacific. You go through the pre-flight checklist with your flight engineer, Wyatt Dusenberry. Fuel transfer valves, supercharger controls, oil pressure on all 4 Wright R3350 engines. Each engine produces 2,200 horsepower. The B-29 weighs 65 tons fully loaded. It needs every foot of that coral runway to get airborne. You feel the aircraft shudder as the engines spool up, a vibration that starts in the seat and travels up through your spine. You release the brakes. The B-29 lurches forward, heavy and reluctant, like something that knows what it's carrying. Halfway down the runway, Dusenberry says, "Number 3 is running hot." You glance at the cylinder head temperature gauge. The needle is kissing the red. You don't pull back. You push the throttles harder. The end of the runway is a black line, and beyond it, nothing. Just coral cliff and ocean. The airspeed indicator climbs. Too slowly. Your palms are wet against the yoke. The tires are screaming on the coral. At the last possible moment, you pull back and the nose lifts, and the aircraft claws into the air with maybe 50 feet of runway to spare. The landing gear clears the cliff edge. Behind you, nobody exhales for a long time. Dusenberry doesn't mention number 3 again. It cools down at altitude. You knew it would. Probably. The bomb is in the bay. It weighs 9,700 pounds. It's called Little Boy, which is almost funny. The weapon is not yet armed. Somewhere over the Pacific, a Navy captain named Deke Parsons will crawl into the bomb bay and change that. He insisted on arming it in flight rather than on the ground. He'd watched B-29s crash on takeoff in recent weeks. He didn't want Tinian Island to disappear in a flash of light because of a runway accident. What Parsons will do in that bomb bay is the reason the island still exists. 2 hours into the flight, Parsons unstraps from his seat. He opens the narrow crawlway that leads to the bomb bay. The space is unpressurized. The temperature is somewhere below -40. He squeezes past steel ribs and wiring into a space barely wide enough for his shoulders. The bomb hangs there, enormous, filling the bay like a body in a coffin. His job is not to pull a wire. His job is to insert the conventional explosive charges into the firing mechanism. 4 cordite charges, each one seated precisely into its breech plug. Each one part of the firing chain that will send a uranium slug down a 6-foot gun barrel into the target core. The simplest nuclear weapon ever built. Point and shoot. The physics of a cannon applied to the end of a city. He does this with bare fingers, because the gloves are too thick for the work. The aircraft pitches in turbulence. The bomb sways on its shackle. One mistake and the thing is live with nowhere to go but down. Minutes pass. 15. 20. You lose count. When Parsons finally squeezes back through the crawlway into the forward compartment, his hands are shaking, but not from the cold. He says, "It's done." After that, there is no abort. After that, it's just physics. Your course is set, north-northwest. Target, Hiroshima. Estimated population, 350,000. A city that has barely been touched by the war. That's intentional. The scientists need a clean measurement. They need to know exactly what the bomb does to a city that is still intact. Somewhere below you, the city is starting its Monday. You will arrive before they finish breakfast. It is a long time to sit with a thing you can't name. The intercom is quiet. Somewhere over open ocean, someone unwraps a sandwich and eats it like it's any other Tuesday. Your radio operator, Richard Nelson, is reading a paperback. The engines drone. The stars fade into dawn. And 9,700 pounds of armed uranium hangs 15 feet below your boots, waiting for the math to finish what the politics started. You don't eat. You drink the cold coffee because it's something to do with your hands. At 7:09 a.m., your Weather Scout radio's back. Hiroshima is clear. Visibility unlimited. You tell your bombardier, Tom Farabee, to take control. From this point forward, the Enola Gay flies itself. Farabee locks the Norden bomb sight onto the target, a piece of technology so classified that every bombardier in the Air Forces has standing orders to destroy it rather than let it be captured. The target is the Ioi Bridge, a T-shaped structure in the center of the city, one of the most recognizable landmarks in Japan. The bridge is beautiful, actually. You saw it in reconnaissance photographs. It spans the Oda River like a precise geometric answer to some question nobody asked. You are at 31,000 feet. The air outside is -44 degrees. Below you, the city is waking up. Streetcars are running. Children are walking to school. An air raid alert had been issued earlier in the morning when your weather scouts passed over, but it was canceled. 1 plane. 3 planes. Not worth the sirens. Not worth the shelters. They don't know what 1 plane can do. Not yet. At 8:15 a.m., you hear the heavy metallic grind of the bomb bay doors opening beneath you. The belly of the aircraft opens to the world below. For 2 seconds, you feel the aircraft shudder with the drag. At 8:17 a.m., Farabee calls. Bomb away. You feel the aircraft lurch upward as 9,700 pounds leaves the bay. The plane jumps like something released from a leash. You are lighter now. The math of that lightness will stay with you for the rest of your life. Instantly, you bank hard left, 155 degrees, nose down, full throttle. The G-forces slam you into your seat. Your harness cuts into your shoulders. Your teeth click together so hard you taste copper. You count. 1, 2, 3. The turn takes everything you have. 4, 5, 6. The aircraft groans, metal flexing against forces it was never fully designed to bear. 7, 8, 9. You are still banking, still diving, eating up distance as fast as physics will allow. 10, 15, 20. The intercom is silent. 11 men breathing, and nobody making a sound. 25, 30. You stop counting. Your mind stops. Your body doesn't. There's nothing to do now but fly and wait. The bomb is falling through 6 miles of empty air, and there is no sound, no signal, nothing to tell you when the world behind you changes. You grip the yoke. Your knuckles are white. The cockpit smells like engine oil and sweat, and the sour ghost of cold coffee. 35, 40, 43. Light! Not an explosion. Not yet. Just light. A light so total, it has no source and no direction. It fills the cockpit like water filling a glass. Your welder's goggles are on. It doesn't matter. For a fraction of a second, you see the bones in your own hands against the yoke. The shadows of your own skeleton printed through your skin by a brightness that has no name in any language you know. Then silence. A silence that stretches and stretches. You wait for the sound. 10 seconds. 20. 30. The silence is worse than anything, because something that bright should roar, and the sky refuses to answer. 40 seconds. 50. Nearly a minute later, it comes. The shockwave hits the Enola Gay like a physical wall. The aircraft bucks violently, shuddering from nose to tail. You are thrown against your harness. Instruments rattle. A pencil flies across the cockpit. A second wave follows 4 seconds later, reflected up from the ground. The Earth itself throwing the energy back at the sky. Your tail gunner, Bob Karen, is the first one to see it. He doesn't have words for it at first. He says, a column, a cloud, something purple, something black, something that keeps going up. You bank the aircraft and look back at Hiroshima. The city is gone. Not damaged, not burning, gone. In its place, a column of smoke and fire climbing toward the stratosphere, already past 40,000 feet and still rising, curling at the top into a shape that nobody had ever seen before that morning. The mushroom. Below it, a circle of absolute destruction nearly 2 miles across. The IOE bridge is no longer there. The streetcars are no longer there. The children walking to school are no longer there. Beyond that circle, fires are spreading outward in every direction, consuming everything the blast wave left standing. The smoke column keeps rising. Later, Karen will tell you he reached for a pencil and started sketching what he saw through the tail window. You will look at that sketch. It won't look like anything you recognize as real. Nelson is crying. You can hear it on the intercom. Through his headset, the Japanese radio frequencies have gone dead. Just pure, endless static where a city used to broadcast. Nobody says anything to him. What would you say? You turn the Enola Gay back toward Tinian and set your cruise power. Fuel burn rate is nominal. All 4 engines are running clean. The aircraft is undamaged. Your job is done. You land at 2:58 in the afternoon. You cut the 4 engines one by one. For the first time in 12 hours, there is silence. It is louder than the engines ever were. Then the cameras start. Generals pin medals on your chest before you've even filed your mission report. You feel the cold weight of the metal against your sweat-soaked flight suit. This morning, the aircraft got lighter when you dropped 9,700 pounds. Now something heavy is being placed on you. Someone hands you a press release that was written before you took off. You read it on the flight line, still in your flight suit. It says the United States has used a new kind of bomb. It says it is an atomic bomb. It says it is the equivalent of 20,000 tons of TNT. It says it was used against a military target. You fold the paper and put it in your pocket. You don't say anything. What would you say? That night, you lie on your cot in the officers' quarters. The ceiling fan clicks overhead. The tropical heat sits on your chest. You close your eyes and you see the light again. That total, bone-white, sourceless light. It fills the inside of your eyelids like it filled the cockpit. You open your eyes. You stare at the ceiling. The fan clicks. You think, I should feel something enormous. I just killed 80,000 people. There should be a weight. There is no weight. There is just the clicking fan and the heat and the knowledge that tomorrow You will wake up and eat breakfast and check the weather report, and none of that will feel any different than it did yesterday. That absence is the thing that will stay with you. Not guilt, not pride, the absence. In the weeks that follow, Japan surrenders. The war ends. You were right. It worked. The invasion of the Japanese mainland, which military planners estimated would cost 1 million American casualties and perhaps 10 times that many Japanese lives, never happens. The logic is clean. Brutal, but clean. You understand the logic. You believed the logic then. You believe it now. But understanding something is not the same as being free of it. The years fold into each other. Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. You fly a desk now. But every August 6th, the sky looks the same to you. Clear. Visibility unlimited. Years later, someone shows you a photograph taken from the ground. From 31,000 feet, it looked like a city disappearing. From the ground, it looked like people. For 60 years, you are asked the same question in 1,000 different ways. Do you regret it? And for 60 years, you give the same answer. No. You say it without hesitation. You say it because hesitation would be a kind of lie. And the one thing you will not allow yourself is a comfortable lie. You did what you were ordered to do. You did it with precision and professionalism. 80,000 people died in a single moment, and you were the instrument of that moment. And you have made your peace with that, and your peace is real. But there is a difference between peace and absence, between accepting something and being untouched by it. It is the morning of November 1st, 2007. You are 92 years old. You are lying in your bed in Columbus, Ohio. The room is quiet. Your breathing is slow. You have left strict instructions. No funeral, no grave marker, no memorial of any kind. You know what a grave would become. A site of protest, a site of pilgrimage, an argument carved in stone. You don't want the argument to continue after you're gone. No stone, no coordinates, no place to stand and say, "Here lies the man who..." You close your eyes. For a fraction of a second, against the darkness of your eyelids, you don't see your bedroom in Ohio. You see the bones of your own hands on a yoke, printed in light, 62 years ago and 10,000 miles away. Then nothing. You flew one mission. You changed the world. You asked for nothing in return except to be left alone with your accounting of it. That is the thing about history. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't ask if you volunteered. It finds the best available instrument. It uses that instrument with precision, and then it moves on. You were the instrument. The coffee in your thermos went cold somewhere over the Pacific. You never did get a fresh cup. If you want to understand the other side of that morning, what happened on the ground, what the people of Hiroshima saw when the sky turned white, that story is coming. Subscribe so you don't miss it. This is history that deserves to be told whole.